Why, hello there, friends, family, and everything in between. It is Dylan from Alternate Universes. On the left, we have George Ephelis playing Blue-Red Murktide, and on the right, we have Mark Mara playing Kaheera Elementals, or Kaheera Mentals. As the thing on the screen currently says, this is a matchup I know all too gosh darn well. I can't curse within the first minute of this video, because that's how the algorithm works. Then, I may or may not accidentally curse. So, let's talk about this matchup. This is a matchup where Elementals is typically favored. The entire time I was playing Yorion Elementals, and I played a lot of Yorion Elementals. I think I only lost this matchup maybe once, and I've played it a lot. It is not a favorable position for George to be in, but George is a pretty good Blue-Red Murktide player. He's been playing it for a little while now. And, I've been watching his games, and he's got the gist down, and we're here for it. And, I've got a soft spot in my heart for anything blue-red, which is why I like Elementals. Blue and red are in that four-color combination that Omnath Locust Creation has. Now, the problem that Murktide tends to have with the Elemental deck is Elementals has a lot of value that it can just accrue randomly and do with things. There's a random 6 here. And it also just doesn't falter to a lot of the things that Murktide has at its disposal. So, Murktide Regent, answerable by Solitude. And they want to play their Solitudes, right? Like, everybody wants to play their Solitudes, but Elementals really wants to play their Solitudes. Especially with a Risen Reef on the board. They want their triggers. Now, Ledger Shredder is probably the hardest thing, honestly, for Elementals to deal with. If Shredders get big quickly, they can be a problem, which is actually why you're going to see these pitched Solitudes real quick, because Bolts aren't going to be able to remove the Shredders more than likely. Prismatic Ending, pretty good at dealing with the bird. I don't know how many Prismatic Endings Mark is on. There's unfortunately just so many things in Murktide to Prismatic Ending. And because of Murktide's low threat count, the Elemental player just has the ability to play a game plan where they just want to remove the creatures. Like, just remove the threats, and then you can coast until your opponent either concedes or you kill them. Which is why, for a little while there, Elementals plays Supreme Verdict out of the sideboard. I played 2 copies at SCG Baltimore. And it's just more ways to run your opponent on the threats, specifically Murktide. And it was, let me tell you, Verdict back then, crazy. I don't know how good it is currently. I haven't actually played Elementals too much outside of a RCQ last season, where I got 9th place, baby. Yeah. The other thing is that Elementals plays wise. Reddit popping up on my... Alright. Elementals plays Cavern of Souls, which you can see on the board right there. So it invalidates the counter magic that... Doesn't invalidate it completely, but it does pseudo-invalidate the counter magic that Murktide wants to utilize. Your big threats, or the things that they really want to counter, are Elementals, right? Like, you don't want Endurance resolving, you don't want Solitude resolving and sniping your big thing, you don't want Omnath to hit the board. Because really, once Omnath is on the board and sticks around for a turn or two, the game is over. Now, luckily, Mark is on the Kaheera version, which means that he's not playing cards like Atraxa Grand Unifier or Elish Norn Mother of Machines, which I think that version is a little better. Personally, but I still think the Kaheera Elemental deck is very good. Because I'm a simp for the Elemental tribe. Shredder, cracking in here for 2 damage, probably at the Renin 6. Yep, he's going to take Ren off the board. Flood Stratus, land for turn, going to crack.
Or 18.
I was going to say 18 or 16, I think, are the 2 choices. Yep.
George rocking a Magneto. I don't know if it's Magneto was right or if Magneto did nothing wrong. And that's fair, Magneto has done something wrong, some things wrong, but
Blood Moon a mile away, George. 3 islands.
as a character, Are we really supposed to root against the Holocaust survivor? Is that his current origin story? Have they retconned him?
This is awful.
I know Marvel was doing some weird stuff with the X-Men comics in the late 2010s.
Jace.
There's a Jace the Mind Sculptor coming out here. Why does his face look different? Is it just because of the camera angle? Jace here, coming out. I imagine he was bouncing the Omnath, right? Yeah, so not the Omnath.
Yes.
Like, Mark will just probably replay him and draw a card. Especially if he has a fetch land in hand. Because he'll still get access to 5 mana.
I'll cast it.
Here comes the Jelly Bean, to draw a card.
I gained 4 life. I'm at 18.
Windswept Heath as a land for turn. We'll gain 4 life to 18, fetching to 17.
Make 4 mana.
Casually sip some coffee. Here comes a hard cast Solitude, going to exile the Ledger Shredder. Now we did miss a Ledger Shredder Connive Trigger.
And I'll pass the turn.
2 spells were cast. Omnath being the first one, Solitude being the second one. George's hand is Dragon's Rage Chandler,
What's brains?
Unholy Heat. Hand's gonna change, we just brainstormed. Top deck's what looks like 2 lands, going to play a fetch as a land for turn, Blood Strand, being said fetch, has 2 channelers, okay. Not the greatest spot to be in. Has 2 types for Delirium, 2 instants of a land. And is missing a red source.
17.
There's a world that if George had the ability to have a 3rd red here, he could go Channeler, cast the Unholy Heat, target the Omnath, and hope to surveil 2 other types into the yard. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. It's better than probably just shooting down the Solitude. Chandler coming out here.
The argument can be that they were types.
3 types. 2 types.
Because the issue is with 2 types here.
Good old Mark
If he
Delirium. He's got
Unholy
Mark Delirium
Heats
over there.
I've got.
and surveils 1, he can't get
I've
the
got
4 types for
future
Delirium.
That's what I'm counting my Jace the Mind Sculptor.
He can shoot down the Solitude, but I don't think that's a very worthwhile play here.
5 cards.
Like, the Omnath is the thing he needs to do.
I believe you.
He does kill on sight.
I believe you.
Card is so good.
Oh my god, I don't think I can win this game. I'll pass.
This is how turn.
Which makes sense. Do I hate it?
21. Fetch to 20.
It's the Rainforest. Land for turn. Gonna gain 4. Gonna fetch. Going down to 20. Could be going down to 18 depending on if he gets a shock land or not.
4 mana.
Gets a basic forest. That's the other thing. Murktide does play Blood Moon in their deck. As actually talked about in last round's video that we posted yesterday. You should watch it. That was Rakdos game versus Giganta Bring to Light. Where we talked about Blood Moon's efficiency in the Rakdos deck.
Now I have Delirium.
And pseudo efficiency in the Murktide deck.
Sick.
There's a hard cast Fury.
For 7.
Is not looking good for a young warrior. Does have Delirium now.
I'll ephemerate it.
Will ephemerate the Omnath in response to the Unholy Heat. And George goes, yeah, I can't win here. Let's save some time and go to game 2.
Alright,
Which is a
18.
very respectable decision. The amount of people who, and I've talked about this like many times, almost every time that Elementals is on camera, players have a tendency, especially back when Yoron was legal, to play against the Elemental deck and then play to a point where the Elemental player has won the game. It's just not, the life total isn't, the Elemental player has won the game in a way, but the person's life total isn't at 0. Like, if Yorion came out and they refilled their hand, you lost the game. Unless their hand, like, was 7 lands, like, you're just not winning the game. And even then, they could turn Ren and 6 into a kill condition then. Nowadays, with the Grand Unifier version of the tracker, if they refill their hand and you see the cards are good, you probably just lost the game. Elementals are very good at playing to a point where they can turn the corner and just win. And a lot of players don't recognize that and don't concede, even if they recognize that. Which is why Elementals will go into time a lot, because the deck isn't the fastest at killing the opponent. Now, that's also because some Elemental players don't just recognize that they should just play the Fury and attack with a Fury, but
Cast Ren and 6.
that is neither here nor there.
Minus.
Ren pins the Dragon Threat Chandler, but we were talking about Blood Moon. Blood Moon is a card that should be good against the 4-color deck, but Elementals is very good at playing around Blood Moon with cards like Abundant Growth. No. Yes? Fuck. Whatever the one that enchants a land makes it tap for any color. I think it's Abundant Growth. Abundant Harvest is the sorcery they released in Strixhaven, right?
Trigger's good.
Or released in MH2. Alright, Unholy Heat here on Red and 6. Gonna get a Connive trigger.
You just got a bolt.
I started a bolt. I'll attack you for
Yeah,
2.
Moon at the right time. Like, if you lead Ragavan on 1, connect, and go Moon on 2,
14.
that probably wins you the game, assuming they don't have all the basics in their hand. But the amount of people that have, like, confidently tapped out for Moon against me as Elementals, I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll get rid of it anyways.
I'll pass.
You'd be surprised how willing the deck is to, like, Leyline Binding for 4. Like, here, whatever. Ragavan coming out to play.
Man, this is a interesting game. 14.
Going to fetch with Misty Rainforest. It's a Temple Guard? No, gets a Forest.
You have how many cards in hand?
Had the Temple Guard anyways.
1.
Or already.
What is it? It's this one. You didn't see that.
What? No.
Reef.
It's a reef.
Trigger. Good.
Combat. Take 2.
Take 2.
Risen Reef came out, blocks the Ragavan.
Your turn.
Gonna take 2 damage from the Ledger Shredder.
Draw. Well,
Fairy Time Raveler. Most likely going to bounce that Ledger Shredder if it resolves.
bounce.
Jordan says, okay, good, go for it. Draws a card. I wonder why he didn't sack the Islet there. Start for a redraw. Maybe he doesn't have another land to play. Maybe he wants to double spell.
13.
16.
Second Shredder? Or a third Shredder?
13.
It'll be second Shredder in this game.
And I'm at 12.
14, 13. Dress down, trigger.
Cast a Dress Down. Interesting. Gets a Connive trigger.
Trigger's good. And then thinking about the dress down.
Draws a card. I
Dress down resolve.
don't know how much I love that. Now, I get it, right? Like, you can't play
With the
Dress Down at instant speed because of Teferi.
Flash in Subtlety,
but-
exiling Omnath. Yep. And then dress downs get the sack.
Right, Mark, pitch cast a subtlety
Tap, upkeep,
won't die because of the Dress Down. Why?
Plus the fairy.
Weird. I feel like there's an argument to do that
Go ahead.
in response to the Shredder, right? George couldn't respond with the Dress Down because of the Fairy being in play. You don't have to worry about the Shredder being on the board.
Iteration.
Go ahead.
No, I guess if the arguments you're holding it because you're afraid of a Murktide region, that makes sense.
Consider. Trigger.
Iteration.
I think so.
Finds a bauble, exiles the bauble.
Yep.
Adds to consider to hand. Cast consider. Connive trigger.
Play bobble.
Yep.
Ouch.
12. 12 to 12. Tie game.
Murktide region.
He's a Murktide regent.
Full score. Ocho coming at me.
5 counters. I still
Going
have
to
to
full
worry.
send at 8-8 here.
That's fine. That resolves.
I'll take a look at the top card of your deck.
Sure. You got it.
I'll pass.
Bauble reveals an island.
I'm gonna cast endurance.
Instead, we're going to endurance here for Mark to shuffle away the graveyard.
I no longer have Valerian.
This will grow the Murktide regent by, I think, 1. I think there's only 1 spell left in there. I was just checking something on the yard.
There's a state-based thing that needs to happen with that.
Oh, is that required? It's not a trigger?
I'm pretty sure it's not a trigger.
It's a trigger, but since you said it, you get Murktide counters.
It's also local.
Huh?
It's also local.
I know.
Yep, 1 mystical dispute.
1 counter.
Because it's leaving his graveyard, so it gets bigger. And then I'll move to my turn. Untap.
During your upkeep, I'll draw a card from the bobble.
Oh, of course.
You
Yep.
wanna cut this?
No, all good. This is my draw.
It's always
take
like,
bottle.
very upsetting when the first cup of coffee is super good. So you make a second cup of coffee to like keep yourself going. You're like, yeah, first cup was great. Second cup has to be great, and it's just like very subpar. And you're like, why did I make a second cup of coffee? No, pain.
I have another Teferi.
There's a Teferi number 2 coming out, bouncing that Murktide back to him.
Go ahead.
This is just the worst.
Sorry, bump you back there.
Time Raveler, so good in this matchup. Time Raveler just really good in most matchups.
I was always Teferi, so the counter didn't
Making your opponent stone cold to so many
I
different
said I
things.
was always going to Teferi, so the counter didn't matter.
Right. Duration?
Yes.
Alright, let's put this one in my hand and exile this one and bottom this one.
Yep.
Shredder? Trigger?
Yep.
Bobble?
Yep.
Bauble coming out here.
I'll take a peek at the top of the deck.
Alrighty.
Alright.
The 2 Bauble.
I'll pass.
See, I think it was a Triome? I have no idea what the hell that card was. If it's not a Triome, I have no idea.
Plus.
Fairy to 2.
I'll play Renin 6.
Ren and 6 coming out here. Yes, indeed.
I will plus the Misty.
We'll plus Ren, picking up.
Play it as my land for turn.
Misty Rainforest, playing it as a land for turn. Both players' creatures are kind of just at a stalemate right here. Neither of them really have favorable attacks into the other. Going to fetch, get an island.
Three mana. I'll cast Reef. Trigger.
Risen Reef coming out here. Gonna get a trigger. Top card
I'll put it into
is a land. We'll put Misty Rainforest into play.
Go ahead. Oh, the connive for me? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. I'm never winning this game.
No offense, but I hope not.
It was Cavernous Souls. The unknown card drawn is Cavernous Souls. Good job, Dylan. Shit.
Force a trade, maybe.
Math. Odawara. Cavern. Eldamri's Calls, what the hand looks like. George has Blood Moon, Ragavan. Ledger Shredder. So many birds.
One's exiled, or no? Was that last game?
That may have been last game.
That was last game. Okay. One more shreddy boy in the deck.
Always life. 11.
11
3 mana takes 8 damage here. Plays Blood Moon.
Triggers. We're gonna do this one.
Which way are you doing your triggers? Okay.
With
Yep.
2 Connive Trigger going left to right here.
This one.
Yep.
This one.
Yep. And Blood Moon's good.
Go to combat.
Sure.
I'll swing with these two guys at Teferi.
Looks like we are pushing some attacks in with the birds.
I'll pass to you.
Teferi has fallen. By the wayside.
Drop a turn.
Mark is able to still cast Omnath
Plus
if
one on the
he
Misty.
so wishes.
Play the Misty. Buy Kaheera. Play Kaheera. White green.
Buys Kaheera. Plays Kaheera.
I'll go to combat.
This will give his other elementals +1/+1 and vigilance. So going to be attacking for a total of 8. How big is Subtlety? I don't think I've actually attacked as a Subtlety in forever. I want to say it's a 3/2, 3/3. Subtlety
Go ahead.
3/3. Damn, the floors for Subtlety are cheap. I need to buy this one. Oh, Modern Horizons 2.
Creature. I have Delirium.
Georgia goes down to 3 here. Imagine we're going to see the Lightning Bolt cast on
Yep.
Kaheera here. The Vigilance is very good.
Exile.
Finds a land, puts a card in hand. Will land for turn.
They land.
Sure.
Dragon's Rage Channeler.
Chandler. Connive triggers. Going left to right again.
I will respond to the
I
trigger.
think Mark is thinking about responding.
I'm going to cast Solitude
to the triggers.
Exiling Aladombri's call.
Going to pitch cast a Solitude here.
Resolves. Reef trigger, and I'll exile that guy.
Going to choose to
Gain 4.
exile the big bird,
I'll resolve Reef.
then resolve Reef,
I'll put a Hollowed Fountain into play.
tap Hallowed Fountain into play, though it's basically a mountain.
Yep.
Connive. Drop a Chandler, grow to a
You discarded
Anything?
Darcy, right?
Yeah,
So you
so
got.
that's gonna
Oh,
be
okay.
counter.
be a 3 something. Alright, second one does not discard anything. He does have a third connive trigger because of the other bird. That trigger did go on the stack. Draws a Misty, drops a Misty.
I will lightning bolt your
That
Kaheera.
bolt on the Kaheera, as we talked about.
Kaheera. Okay.
I will unholy heat your endurance.
Unholy Heat here on Endurance.
Trigger.
Puts the tree into the yard by setting it on fire. It's not a tree, but like I don't know. I think of it as a tree. Like Subtlety's supposed to be a wave.
Back
Endurance is a tree branch.
with my guys.
Solitude is God.
Run on 6
Fury is
sword.
just something on fire.
6.
One of my favorite arts in the game is like the base Solitude art, not the full art, the regular. Where it's just this little pilgrims walking on the hill, and the divine incarnation is chilling in the most terrifying pose. I'd be freaked out.
I'll cast Omnath. Draw.
Omnath here. Draw a card.
I'll play Cavern. Gain 4. I go to
Land
9.
return. Gonna gain 4. Go to 9.
Not get to name a type.
Debating on attacking here subtly.
I'll attack with Subtlety.
A block.
George blocks with Dragon's Ray Chandler.
Oh, I missed my Reef with the Omnath. God damn it. Okay. I'll minus targeting you. Set you to 6. Go ahead.
Looks like Ren pinged George. George should be at 6.
God,
Yep.
that
Cool.
Reef trigger is gonna come back and fucking bite me.
Attack you.
Birds are gonna jam in at Mark for 6 points of damage.
Yeah, I'm at 3.
Goes down to 3. Large Murktide reason coming out here.
Full boat.
Yep.
That is an 8/8 dragon
Your
for
turn.
2 mana. Great rate. Blue green from Mark.
Yeah, in your end step, I'll lightning bolt you.
I'm at 3.
Going to cast Bolt. Puts George to 3.
Untap. Upkeep. Draw.
Oh, okay. We were just tapping the mana. Or untapping it. I don't know how many copies of Bolt Mark plays, but I feel like we have to dig for it as hard as we can.
Reef.
3 mana play Risen Reef. We'll get 2 triggers. We'll get to look at 2 cards.
Second trigger. Hand. Bolt you.
Does find the last Lightning Bolt, and that will be game 2 going to Mark.
Trigger.
Thank you for watching, folks, and have a great rest of your day.
My next card was bolt.
Oh no, the bolt was on top of George's deck too. Damn.
I have resolved my Kaheera. There's